My name is Charles Noble, Jr. I'm from San Antonio, Texas. This is the 6th time I've been to Pilsen, 5 times to the celebration. The reason I come is to represent my father. He was in command of Combat Command B of the 16th Armored Division. And in World War II, they had come through Germany and joined the Third Army and were in the southeastern portion of Germany. Some of the freedom fighters from Pilsen got through the German lines and found him and his combat command and said that the freedom fighters had revolted against the Nazis in Pilsen, and there were many thousands of Germans still in Pilsen, and they were greatly outnumbered and needed help as soon as possible, somebody to come to their rescue. And my father, on his own initiative, due to the seriousness of the situation, was allowed by the Third Army to go through the infantry lines of the 2nd Infantry Division and the joining division because they would be faster. They were all armored, tracks and wheels, and could make a rapid advance. So they moved as fast as they could to Pilsen to assist the people in Pilsen that were rising against the Germans. And they got there before too long. They had some resistance along the roads coming into Pilsen, but they overcame it quickly and got into Pilsen to assist the freedom fighters in the liberation of the city and capture the Germans. There were a few snipers left at the end, which they captured, and of course the German general, one of my father's, the major in his command, was sent by my father to take the surrender, and he was the one that committed suicide in his office in front of his wife and staff. But then my father stayed here with the 16th Armored until they were removed from the city. But he thought the Czech people were wonderful people, and Pilsen was a favorite city. He was a career Army officer, graduate of West Point, and had served in the Philippines. He'd been to China and Japan before World War II. He graduated from West Point at the end of World War I, so he'd been in Europe before. So he'd been around the world, was familiar with the different countries and peoples. And his favorite country and favorite people were the Czech Republic, or Czechoslovakia at that time, and the Czech people. He gave them his highest compliment by saying he thought they were more like Americans than any of the other people in the world that he had encountered, that they loved their freedom and were willing, just like the freedom fighters, to stand up against oppression, to fight for their freedom, and that they were honest, loyal people that he respected. And so he enjoyed his stay in Pilsen. After he left here, he was in command of a German prisoner of war camp in Garmisch that had all the German generals and field marshals. He had a separate command. We had 1,200 German generals and admirals and something like 7 or 8 field marshals in a prisoner of war camp after that. But he, unfortunately, due to the communists taking over in Czechoslovakia, was not able to return. So he was never able to return to this country that he loved so much, except just the first time that he had been here. And every time I come, I try to represent him, but I feel sad because I know how much he would have enjoyed being here.
How do you like the Pilsen Liberation Festival?
Appreciate it very much, and I've enjoyed it. And in the parade, the most touching thing to me was the older men and women that had experienced communism and socialism with tears streaming down their faces. We went by in the Jeeps recalling what they had gone through and how much they valued their liberty and how much it meant to them. It really got to me, and because you can see the people that have experienced oppression, how much they appreciate getting out from under it and gaining their freedom.
The Liberation Festival should remind each generation that freedom shouldn't be taken for granted.
I think it's great because the problem is the young people have not experienced this for a couple of generations, and they don't know what it's like not to have their freedom and to be told what to do every day and to live under a controlling government that gives you no freedom. So they believe things that politicians tell them and promise them and things like that, and we're doing the same thing in America right now. But because we've never suffered the things that you all have over here, so we don't have the experience, and it's hard to gain the experience by having to lose your freedom to understand how much of value it is and how important it is to keep it.